Hello guys and girls, consciousazine.net. Today's video by me, Benjamin Cowenberg. The conforming bitch men of the Matrix love to make you look bad, and I've noticed it's the only way to lift their sorry asses, because they are in second place all the time. They're not real men. Yeah, they're like little bitches that just take orders, are afraid. They've succumbed to the fear of the Archon society, and so on. And so what I've noticed is they like to make you look bad, because if they make you look bad, it makes them look slightly better, you know? Because they don't come with anything of merit. You know what merit means? In the army, for instance, you get medals and stuff, and merit is a word that's not meaning pathetic. It means you've done something of worth. You know, they're not meritful beings. They're just followers, conformers, and just crap. Like, they're just shitty. Like, they are not so amazing. I've noticed that they'll tear... It's not just to me, it's to anyone who's a real man still, who stands in their own light, who doesn't conform just because someone tells them to, you know? And so what I've noticed is they like to make it look bad, because it's seemingly, to me, the only way that they can lift their sorry ass up in the eyes of, whoever the figure is, or the figurehead of control in the local scene or workplace or whatever. So, for instance, here at the camping, I'll give you an example. There's, people that stay here, and then they're real afraid to use the resources of the camping, and I'm definitely not, and that's, I reckon, one other reason why they always so onto me here, because they see that I move freely. I don't move under the aegis or the guidance or their wishes, the controller sort of wishes, and archons are demons who come through people, these organic portal people. And so what I've noticed is they like to make it look bad by, for instance, in my example now, and they've done it my whole life to me. In school, it's, they'll be the teacher's pet, you know what I mean? Here it's, don't use the resources and like look like a good little puppy dog for the owner. But in school, it's like, the teacher's pet, stuff like that. The dibber dobber. Little bitch men. They're just little bitch men. I swear you could like fight 10 of them at once. They never come with anything of force, merit. It's always just something to denounce you, in their behaviours, I mean. That's how they behave around you. So, like, just conforming, obviously. Don't you think that's pathetic? Well, that means you're spiritless. You're not standing up for yourself. You're not standing in your own light. You're not being yourself. You're not being free. You're not being your, what? Frequency. There's the big word. Because what we're in is frequency wars. And if you look around the world, that's what we're trying to break in every sense of our freedom movements. People trying to be God over you. People trying to control you, or control your frequency and how you are, what you do, how you behave, what you say. Censorship is on the rise. You got people being kicked off Facebook, all these like freedom websites. I think I mentioned that in another video, the dystopia video. It's like globalfreedom.com or something like that. I was reading an article, and they listed all, because at the bottom of the article you could say if you also had your Facebook like page taken down, and they had a huge list of alternative media who'd been taken down, and I was pretty shocked, actually. I didn't realise it was that many myself. I knew it was going on because I'm one of them. consciousazine.net is alternative media, And so I'm one of them, and I knew it was going on, just I know by looking around. But I had no idea it was that bad as the list I saw. I was just thinking, wow, this is actually really happening. And what it is, it's a frequency control. That's how you sort of summarize all this. And the aim to control your frequency in any way possible. And this way is just the bitch men doing it in their little way. The archons do it in their way to make you fear. The bitch men know they can't make you fear. So what the bitch men do is just try and make you look bad. So you've got to see all the angles of play here, because it's the game of life. So you got to see that, like when you play a computer game, like if you play Donkey Kong or something. That was the last computer game I played a couple of months ago. Just briefly had a go. Haven't played much games for a while, and they all come with different moves and different characteristics, all the characters in the game. And the bitchman's move seems to me to be to make you look bad to whoever the controller is in the scene. So look out for that. And so how do I recommend, what do I recommend doing? To be honest, I'm really a Syrian rebel, I'm really rebellious. I'm here for the Syrian Light Rebellion. That's my energy. It's very, very hard energy I'll bring to the table. No back down energy, And to be honest, that's what I think you should do. You should just be yourself and stand in your light and be strong. And it's so easy to succumb to fear. I know, but just look what happens when you don't. It's very interesting what happens when you don't. There's a saying. Actually, it reminds me of a great quote from someone. I forgot who made the quote. But the quote goes, the universe favors the bold. The bold meaning, the courageous. So just see what happens when you, step up with a little bit of courage. Because it's very, very funny what happens. Very uncanny, so to speak. You'll start to realize that something's helping you. And also that it collapses like their field or something, the Archon controller or whoever the controller is, it collapses their field, because that's all they know to do. So if you suddenly are not in their fear mode, then they don't know what else to do, and they have to go back and re-strategize, and you can just keep doing that. Just don't be fearful. And so it's very interesting. It collapses the situation. It's like you bring proper consciousness into the situation, and the situation collapses. So just don't fear. Come with the light of consciousness, and make sure you do that. Not just don't fear, but come with the light of consciousness. What's that mean? Well, explain the situation. Don't be afraid to speak and say, because they want the situation left unsaid. They want it to be unsaid. They want it to be all psychic war and an undercover war. Have you noticed that the spiritual warfare is all an undercover war? And most people, half the people on the planet, don't even know what's going on. And they'll be like, what are you talking about if you say spiritual warfare, Only us people in the spiritual warfare seem to realize what's happening. And it's the tech spirit war. That's what's going on, because they've usually got the technology, they're usually in power positions, and so on. So in the spiritual warfare, you've got to come with the light of consciousness, not just no fear, definitely no fear, but also with the light of consciousness, and say, speak, behold, be, don't be afraid to speak up. Because that's what I've noticed, people just leave things unsaid, and that's what they want. Then they can keep sort of winning, because you don't get anyone onto them. Otherwise people start to realize what's going on, and they get onto it, and then they sort of get pressured sometimes, not always, because they're part of the matrix. And there's a lot of people who really are, doing the man's work for the man, so to speak, or doing the matrix work for the matrix. But sometimes if you do that, quite often they'll back down for one reason, like I was saying, for the reason of not wanting to be seen as the fool, that they are being, and not wanting to be seen as neurotic, controlling, and so on. So you've got to speak up about it. You've got to say something. It completely seems to collapse their little scenario of control. So that's Benjamin Kallenberg, consciousazine.net. You know, on the website, I don't really talk about organic portals. I'm leaving that for this YouTube channel. The website is really for health. It's really for mental health, this website. Yeah, look, food is part of mental health. You'll notice what you eat affects your thoughts. So there is absolutely no herb deception. I understand some people think there's, you don't need to take herbs and this and that. And I get it, you can get strength from the inner light alone, from knowing how to electrical potential your cells, stop the magnetic stick and energy blocks in areas. You can align your spine, you can ground on the ground barefoot. There's many ways, but I'm telling you, still herbs and what you eat especially affects what you think and how you think and how much you think with the monkey brain, how silly you are, and so on. So yeah, that's why I'm leaving the website like that. I don't really need to weave in the organic portal stuff because I think that's better for individual videos. I don't want to write everything out. I am going to make a book on organic portals. Comment under the video. Tell me what you think about me writing a book. I want more ideas. I think I'm going to call it Organic Portal Apocalypse, and apocalypse means uncovering in Greek. It means to uncover something, to apocalypt something. A very deep, esoteric or occultish type meaning. To uncover something, not just to turn over a rock, but to turn over a spiritual rock, So I'm thinking about calling it Organic Portal Apocalypse. Comment under the video and tell me what you think, and hey, add to this video's title if you can. Tell me more about your experiences with the bitch man, and yeah, all the women. Not just the bitch man, but women will do this a lot too. What I've said that the bitch men do, they'll make you look bad to lift themselves up just a tiny bit, and you'll notice it's only brief. So it's such a pathetic attempt. Why don't you people, actually build your own merit instead of ripping other people down, and just only ripping at people to lift yourself a bit. It's something that is quite common, I think, and in Australia we call it tall poppy syndrome. It's like the tall poppy, they cut the stem. If you're too tall, and what I've said for years in my head, and I've never said it aloud, but this is probably the perfect video to say this, what I've noticed is that there's, like, I've called the organic portals stabilization function of the morphogenic field. The morphogenic field of any species, a dog, a cat, or a human, holds the information for the species, and it's how you know how to do something without thinking sometimes, because it's previously been done. And what I've said is that the organic portals are like a stabilization function for the morphogenic field. And so it's interesting. What I've seen is, and not said for years, but I'm definitely thinking this is the perfect video, it's like you can't get further out front of the species, whatever your species is, than a certain distance. It's like you can't get more than, arbitrary distance out the front, I don't know, 10 spiritual miles out the front of everyone else, you know what I mean? Because they pull you back in. It's because if you are a vector that sort of vectorizes too hard, nobody can even understand you, even just by that functionality. But then there's the jealous functionality, and this, the pull you back just to make, for them to catch up a bit functionality. But this is what I've noticed, that it's like you can't get too far out in front because people will hold you down and pull you back. It's pretty interesting.
consciousazine.com Chronicle.